Hello, how is everyone doing? It is your fallen angel back with another video. Today, we are going over advanced technology and the power of the mind slash brain. So before we get started, let's just do a couple reminders. Guys, feel free to check us out on Patreon and Rumble to further your support. Instagram and Twitter as well. All those are free, of course. And without further ado, guys, let's just jump right in. So, the world powers have succeeded in creating technology that not only read and decipher a person's thoughts, but can manipulate thoughts as well. After the Second World War, the CIA, NSA, KGB, and other world powers spent billions of dollars for research on the brain, nervous system, human behavior, conditioning, control, manipulation, and the mind. So guys, it is very, very, very little information out there as to what has been studied, what has been understood for the general public, right? For the general public, they do not know what is going on behind closed doors. As far as we know, the rabbit hole goes as deep as possible. The amount of information we are limited to is very limited as far as what is actually going on, right? We know MK, right? MK Ultra is now a big thing, right? But we have to understand that came out back in the 70s. We're about 50 years plus. We can only fathom the type of materials they have now in terms of conditioning, control, and manipulation, right? And ultimately, that's what it ends up becoming, guys. It's a traumatization, manipulation factor in order to keep people in control. So we're going to go over some more things along those lines. In the spring of 1973, Dr. Joseph C. Sharp at Walter Reed Army Institute of Research heard and understood spoken words communicated to him by a pulsed microwave audiogram. Analog of those words, sounds, vibrations, beamed into his brain. This device bypassed the ears and hearing. So guys, we see how they can use certain things like pulse microwave audiograms and the microwave systems to hear things, okay? An experiment in which the human brain received a message carried to it by a pulsed microwave transmission. So we can get things, we can bypass certain things that aren't bypassable, right? Like, let's say there's a security guard or a bouncer, right? That acts as a hearing system, or let's say that acts as ears and hearing are the bodyguard, right? If it can bypass the bodyguard and enter right to the source or the club, which is the brain, this has to be further looked into, guys. If you can bypass hearing and ears, that means you can enter the subconscious without anyone knowing. This is dangerous. This is manipulation. This is beyond something we can understand in the physical plane. In 1996, Defense Authorization Bill, Congress authorized $37 million for research in what the Pentagon calls non-lethal and less than lethal technologies. This is sold as humanitarian form of warfare or crowd control. So guys, when we talk about humanitarian crowd control, this is exactly what it is. This is exactly how they're trying to implement control over people without using lethal force, without having to do anything that requires force, right? But instead of lethal force, this force is entering your brainwaves without you knowing. This is also force, but it's a subconscious force to make you submit. So, RNM, remote neural monitoring, can send encoded signals to the brain's auditory cortex, thus allowing audio communications direct to the brain, bypassing the ears. NSA can use the covertly to deliberate subjects by simulating auditory hallucinations characteristic of paranoid schizophrenia. So guys, with these kinds of things, they want to use things that will not only hallucinate, traumatize, manipulate. Think of everything you see in media today. It is used as a way to manipulate and put you in fear and put you in a traumatized state. And when you're in this state, You have no choice but to give in because you're scared. That is how a lot of things operate in the society that we live in. Has been perceived throughout history for decades, centuries, years and years and years. They use fear mongering to get citizens or the proletariat, bourgeoisie, whoever, to fall in line. This is how you fall in line. Back then, they were using brute force, sacking nations, things of that nature. Now, if they can bypass the ears, the bodyguard is the ear, and they could just enter your cerebrum that way and give you these kinds of hallucinations, they are in a much, much more pinnacle ahead. They're in the driver's seat and they're far ahead than much we could even imagine. Okay? This modulated information can be put into the brain at varying intensities, from subliminal to perceptible. So guys, if this can be used, these waves can bypass the ears and hearing and can hit the brain and give you varying intensities from subliminal to perceptible. We could only imagine how deep of a trance they can put you in, or how deep they want to truly control you. A psychosurgeon can implant electrodes into various sites in the brain of living creatures and send radio signals into those electrodes. They call this electrically controlled behavior. Science has surpassed this with electronic brain stimulation that can do the same without the electrode implants. Finely tuned microwaves can achieve the same results as implanted electrodes. Guys, if you have a microwave in your house, I'm not saying you should get rid of it, but just be wary of what can be attempted with it, right? We have to understand that everything is working off of energy and waves, right? There's a reason why when you were in school, they would say that certain waves, you should stay away from microwave waves, right? Because it could cause cancer, things of that nature. But what we must understand is this can be used for even worse, right? Something that can affect your brain's thought patterns with said thoughts like hallucinations and things of that nature. We have to be wary of what they can use against us. They can use certain things that are day-to-day items. Even our phone is radiating energy. This can also be used with electrodes to impair the brain, to cause hallucinations, to create more of a control over you, to create this fear-mongering over the general public. So we have to be weary of this. This is not an attack at the microwave companies or attack at anyone who uses it. If you use it, then that's fine. But just be weary of what is being done. We have to be weary of what the people at the higher ups are doing. We have to recognize what they need to do for control, right? Technology to perceive pre-speech human thought via skin contact is well developed. Electrical equipment can gather and read the electrical fields generated on the skin, the aura, and translate subvocal speech into text. A body can become disabled by sending disruptive signals into a person's motor cortex, affecting motor control. So guys, if we understood, we have videos prior that we spoke about how energy, we are electromagnetic beings. So as electromagnetic beings, our thoughts and emotions create this aura field. So with these technologies, they can put it on the skin to translate your aura. This aura can translate speech into text, right? So this is how they get an understanding of what you're feeling, your thoughts and emotions, without ever having to ask you, right? Because this is via skin contact, right? Your skin is the one telling it out through to the technology. This technology is so advanced that it's picking up aura. Only technology will be able to pick up aura because it's an electromagnetic thing. We as human beings cannot see this. We haven't adapted to see electricity like that through the physical plane. This is going on through the astral plane. Only some machine advanced like that could do that. And also, let's get into the final point. A body can become disabled by sending disruptive signals into a person's motor context, affecting motor control. So let's just get into a little bit of what that means. When we first think of this, we must think of the frontal lobe. When you drink alcohol, right, or you drink something of that nature, what happens is the cerebellum is the bridge connected to the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the lobe that basically does all your motor functions. Ocular movement, moving your eyesight, speech control, when you talk, facial movement, when you move. Skeletal muscle movement, your whole body moving, is the frontal lobe. Now, when you drink alcohol and that cerebellum bridge is slowly getting turned off, this is why people have trouble speaking. This is why they have trouble walking. This is why they have trouble doing things of that nature. This is why when police come to you, they say, can you walk backwards? Or can you say your alphabet backwards? Because we want to see if your frontal lobe is impaired. This is why they do this. So if they are able to have equipment that can affect your frontal lobe, almost turning you into a vegetable, this is serious stuff. This is super important stuff. If they have the ability to just control a human's frontal lobe, they have full control over making you a individual to a zombie. Literally a zombie that's controlled versus an individual that can express themselves freely. This is what they're trying to push to further. We have to be very wary of this, guys. To send a thought into a brain, it is necessary to decode the resonance frequency of each specific brain area. So guys, what that means is each part of the brain is at a different frequency, depending on what you're thinking, depending on what you're feeling. Every part of the brain is operating at a different frequency because of it. Now, when we think of like the frontal lobe, for example, it's firing at different ranges because depending on what you're doing, let's say you're in a gamma state, right? You're constantly thinking, you're doing something, or a beta state. You're working on something, you're writing, you're drawing, you're doing something where the frontal lobe is at its, it's doing what it has to do. It's sending electricity around the body to make sure you're getting your task done for survival, whatever it may be. So it's operating at a different level than, say, the temporal lobe is at that moment, or the parietal lobe is at that moment. So it's giving different frequencies. So they must decode what's going on in that brain so they can send a code, right? So to send a thought into the brain, it's necessary to decode the resonance frequency of each specific brain area. So once they get that understanding of what's going on in each brain area, they will be able to know how to send thoughts into your brain. Okay? Science has progressed to where they have deciphered the brain signals like satellite waves and can be decoded onto a TV screen. Thought waves can also be deciphered and read. Of course, this is something kept from the public. Many unwitting human beings, along with animals, have been experimented upon, implanted with microchips that control the thought processes and produce thoughts, feelings, and emotions and hallucinations. So guys, science has progressed to where they have deciphered the brain signals like satellite waves and can be decoded onto a TV screen. Thought waves can also be deciphered and read. So guys, as electromagnetic beings, we're emitting electricity. Everything that's going on within the brain is electromagnetic. Every thought you have, every subconscious thought, everything is through electromagnetic waves. So if science has progressed to the point where they can decipher aura, an electromagnetic aura, they're also at the point where they can decipher your thought processes. Now, they're also at the point where they can control this with a microchip. This microchip will act as a way to bind your will. It will act as a way to bind the logical discriminatory side of the brain. It will produce its own thought processes, its own thoughts, its own feelings, emotions, and hallucinations in a controlled rate. We have to be prepared, guys, because seems like this is where the future is heading. This seems like this is where they want it to go. They want everyone under a mind control and to follow what is called the New World Order, right? They want us to follow this indoctrination. They want us to submit to the indoctrination, not by our own just judgment and justification, but by literal force, right? Because if you don't, they're going to say, well, if you don't do this, then we will take other privileges away. And that's exactly how previous things like the abomination came to fruition, because they were removing rights, they were provoking rights, they were provoking different ways of thought, and they were saying if you don't submit and follow, then you lose practically every thought and freedom you thought you had. So as time progresses, they find ways to not only remove more control, but to be in the driver's seat. So we have to be weary of what's going on in this whole microchip ideal. It is very real, and only a miniature microchip is needed to control this, because we are electromagnetic beings. That will act as the new host. We do not want this to act as the new host. We want to be what's in control of the conscious mind. The subconscious is always weary and awake, but the conscious mind is something we want to always be aware of. Man's attempt to control another's thoughts has been since the beginning of time. Wars, torture, murder, interrogation, imprisonment, and so on. They now have the technology to do this. So guys, they have the technology to read your thoughts. They have the technologies to see your feelings, to see what you're thinking, to feel your energy. This is why I say, guys, you have to be diligent on what you're thinking, diligent on how you perceive things. Be positive, because this automatically emits to your aura field. Not just to do this because you're in fear of someone controlling you, but just because you want to know that you are the creator of your cosmos, and you have the power to control your mini universe. So it is essential not to just do it for the greater of yourself, but the greater for everyone else and the greater for the nation, right? So you have to stay positive and understand that your aura is powerful, because we're going to explain why having a powerful aura is important. So here's the solution, guys. Most people out there operate on a certain range of bioelectricity. When we revamp our bioelectricity to a much higher level, their attempts at stimulation are not strong enough to penetrate our aura, because they are geared for the average person. This is analogous to the immunity of one of the reasons where magical and psychic attacks will rebound upon the sender. When the aura is strong, it acts as a defense shield, burning off any microscopic entities that attach themselves before they can do harm. So guys, like I said previously, we have to make our aura strong. We have to meditate, we have to breathe, and we have to stay in a positive state of mind. While doing this, all of our chakras will be lit up, and that will be on the astral plane, that will be showing. So any magic attempt on you, any psychic attempt on you, any electromagnetic attempt on you will be sent back to the sender, or it will just be nullified. It will be put in void, because it cannot enter your plane of reality. This is why having a strong aura is important, guys. You need to understand that having a strong aura is what's going to defend you from what's going to happen in the future. This has been true for decades and decades. Think about all the yogis, all the Tibetan yogis, Indian yogis, Chinese monks. All these guys have been practicing breathing, practicing keeping their aura up. This is how they lived for so long. This is how they understood the world from all the wars, all the fear-mongering, all the things that are going around outside their world. They're still there practicing and meditating, because they know that is more important, is protecting the self. Protecting your own aura is the most important thing. It is a war on your soul. So you must protect your own soul. So, black magic is energy. A strong aura is resistant to negative energy, and many times attacks upon an adept will rebound against the sender. The same as for the energy sent out to influence the average person. It isn't strong enough to penetrate a strong aura. So guys, we've done magic videos here as well. So when you do magic, when you do black magic, depending on, it's an energy. You're sending an energy towards someone. But if their energy and they have blocked off any negative energy, it will be sent back. It will be sent back to the sender. So it is essential to, like we said, keep your energy at its maximum by doing the pineal meditations, by doing chakra breathing, by meditating, by doing your stretches, by learning how to breathe fluently, breathing in the torus. When your aura is strong, nothing can penetrate it. No evil thought, no negative emotion, no negativity from anyone. You're more diligent with who you spend your time with. You're more diligent with how you use your aura in your body. You're diligent with who you touch. You're diligent with every aspect of your life. So when someone sends any negative energy or black magic energy, it is just going to send it back to the sender because it's made for an average person. This is what the future is going to hold. It's going to be a future of the average aura versus the people with strong aura and that truly believe they cannot be touched by this negativity. So that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to foreshadow in the future. So, as for their using technology to read our thoughts through our skin, again, the strength of the aura is important. Martial artists know how to direct their bioelectrical chi, which is their energy or life force, to smash through concrete and bricks. Ever think what that kind of energy would do to one of those sensitive mind reading machines when they're strong enough and properly directed? So guys, like that we just said, if martial artists can direct their bioelectrical energy to smash through physical objects like that, no matter how it is when it goes straight down, whether it be wood or brick or whatever it may be, or even concrete, that is electrical energy through the body, right? These guys aren't massive bodybuilders. People that know martial artists can be very small or very big, doesn't matter. Regardless, is they mastered their aura. They mastered their chi. This is why many teachers of martial arts first teach you inner peace. They say, we're not teaching you how to fight. We're teaching you how to learn the mind, learn protection, learn the soul. That's why you must remain diligent and calm. Because if you're not diligent and calm, you're doing things out of anger, that it will display on your aura. So that's why they teach peace. They teach muscle memory, things of that nature. They teach ways that your chi will get channeled. So if your chi is channeled to the max, your aura cannot be penetrated by any simple technology that wants to decipher your thoughts or trying to decode your brain and trying to manipulate you. You will just be strong to this. So when you have a strong mind, these reading machines can be destroyed by your own aura. It will not be able to penetrate yours. That's why it will only be able to penetrate the weak-minded and the average aura. Other than that, guys, this is the advanced technology in the mind. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comments. I'd love to read them. Also, support us on Rumble, Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, things of that nature. Also, like the video and subscribe if you're new. It's your fallen angel, and I am out.